Hey guys, welcome back. This week I wanted to change out the cardboard that I had behind me in the window with a shop sign. If you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. I began at my plotter, removing the knife blade with a permanent marker. I loaded some butcher paper into the plotter, took my logo from my design software, and sent it over to the plotter. I understand that most people that want to try a project like this aren't going to have a fancy plotter. That's alright. You can use programs like Big Print to print it out on 8.5 by 11 sheets and then just tape them together, or you can go down to your local copy print store and have one of these printed out to whatever size you want. Here's the completed pattern. I then took some water and wood glue and mixed it together. You can add more wood glue if it's too thin. Then to the back of the pattern, I applied the glue liberally. Then you can flip your pattern and position it where you need it. I then drilled holes to the inner parts of the design where the jigsaw blade could not come from the outside edge. Sometimes drilling these holes in the corners makes it easier to turn the jigsaw blade and make nice and even squares. I could then use a circular saw to cut away the bulk of the material that I wasn't going to use. Here's where I got smart and put some 2-inch foam insulation underneath so I could cut out most of the design without cutting into my table. For a lot of the longer straight cuts, I used a circular saw, and then for the curves, just used my jigsaw. Then after a whole lot of jigsawing, I was able to cut out most of the design. When I went to cut out the star, I used a Forstner bit at the peaks of the star to get a nice rounded edge. Obviously, you don't have to cut out a Nick Ferry logo, but whatever you come up with for a design, whether it be freehand sketch or computer aided, you can cut out with a jigsaw. Once you have all your letters cut out, you can peel away most of the paper. The stubborn paper that remains behind, just clean up with a sander. I then took a 1/4-inch piece of hardboard and cut it to size to fit a particular window opening that I was trying to cover. I then took my piece over to the backer board and just kind of centered it up and then traced around it. This was going to supposedly give me an area that I didn't have to necessarily paint with my flat black paint that I was going to use for the background color. I ended up painting most of the board anyways. I then, through bad camera angles, painted most of the scrolled work with white. I could then move on and paint the Nick portion red. Here where two colors intersected, I just laid down some masking tape and took a sharp knife and cut out some of the lettered areas. Remove those portions and it acts as a little bit of a stencil. I could then brush and roll those portions on. But as you see, I didn't wait long enough for the white paint to dry and it came off on the masking tape. Something I can touch up later. I then could apply glue to the back of the 3/4-inch MDF and set it in place on the 1/4-inch hardboard, making sure to keep everything aligned. To ensure that the piece didn't move while the glue was drying, I shot some 3/4-inch brad nails in from the back side. I had a particular window that I wanted this sign to go in, and that's the size that I cut my backer board, but you can cut the backer board to whatever size you want to make it. I then just dropped the sign into the window opening. The window trim kind of gives it a framed look. Well, there you go. That was a nice little painted project, and like I said, you obviously don't have to make a Nick Ferry logo. You can make whatever you come up with on your own. So, until next time, I'll see you next week. You dumb goofs. Oh, you weren't recording? Oh. And I got a live audience too. That's even worse.